This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post broadcasting from the Fort Hall School of Government in Nairobi, Kenya. On this segment, we take a look at some of the headlines you may have missed this morning, and we also take a look at some of the political pieces we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 23rd of March, 2022, and I am CS.
I am AX.
And I am GK. In case you missed the headlines, here they are.
Okay.
Daily Nation, MPs in mad rush to change elections law. The Standard, RUTO strategy to avert UDA fallout. The Star, why giant Raila coalition major threat to ODM. And finally, the People Daily, Mama Ngina now backs Raila's bid.
Wow.
AX, what would you like to speak about
Well,
today?
I would like to speak about something that is currently ongoing. So, last year on the 27th of June 2021, we told you that Martha Karua is the only person man enough to fix William RUTO, and that is the reason why she will become Raila's deputy. Last June, we told you that if Martha Karua runs as Raila Odinga's deputy, RUTO will only see State House from TikTok. And last June, we told you that Rarua was coming. Ladies and gentlemen, Rarua has arrived. Today, Martha Karua announced that she will be joining Azimio Umoja effective immediately. And today, I would like to announce that UDA has officially lost the 2022 elections. Let me explain. Now that Martha Karua has joined the Azimio coalition, she is the top contender for the DP slot. And I say this based on three factors. 1, image, 2, balance, and 3, numbers. On image, Karua is spectacular. Everything about her screams statesman, or more appropriately, stateswoman. From her bold actions to her central role in the nation's second liberation, to her strong track record as a Minister of Water and later Justice, National Cohesion and Constitutional Affairs. On balance, we must talk about something first. Traditionally, the choice of running mate is based on the ethnic vote base they bring. But there are other factors to consider. For example, if the presidential candidate is an outsider, pick a running mate who gives them the insider status, like with Trump and Pence. If the candidate is old, pick somebody young, like with Biden and Kamala Harris. But for our local context, balance also means picking a running mate who is a strong rival in their own right. And here, Karua comes to mind. But we should never forget that the whole point of balancing a ticket is to increase voter turnout. And this is where the numbers come in. If Gama's DP candidate is Martha Karua, quick mathematics will tell you that a Rarua ticket is signed, sealed, and delivered. The presidency is Raila's. The Gama voting bloc has 5.7 million voters, according to the 2017 IEBC register. When you combine these votes with Raila's 2.2 million Luo votes and Kalonzo's 2.1 million Kamba votes, because he's an Azimio partner, a Rarua ticket is worth 10 million votes. Given that there are at least 15 million voters in this country as per the 2017 register, and that to win the presidency you must win 50% plus 1 of the votes, the threshold for victory is 7.5 million votes plus 1. Rarua's 10 million votes surpasses this threshold by 2.5 million votes. Even when you factor in voter turnout rates as informed by history, a Rarua Azimio ticket is good for 7.5 million votes, just surpassing the threshold for 50% plus 1. And numbers do not lie. So if Raila and Karua run together, UDA does not stand a chance. One last thing. Given that Baba is respectfully older than the United Nations, he will be a one-term president. This means that when Karua is chosen as the DP, she will inherit Baba in 2027. Fact.
Wow. So, AX, now that you explored the makeup of the Rarua ticket, allow me to pose a question.
Okay.
What does such a ticket mean for country? And this is one of my thoughts. A Rarua ticket promises continuity. And you may ask, why is this important? It is important because the project that President Kenyatta began in his administration will likely bear fruit in the next. And to ensure that the fruits of Uhuru, pun intended, are sweet, we need continuity. Continuity of vision, continuity of purpose, and above all, continuity of trajectory. This is how we got the Lamu port first conceived of in 1972, and why the eastern and northern bypasses completed under President Kenyatta linked to the Thika Highway completed under President Kibaki. This is the promise of a Rarua ticket, continuity. And I say this because if President Uhuru completed the expressway, which Raila designed, then it stands to reason that Raila will return the favor. But how do we know that good things will happen in a Rarua administration? We know this because of the Grand Coalition government of 2008 showed us that great things happen when Luos and Kikuyus work together.
Indeed.
The Grand Coalition government is responsible for the fastest growth rate recorded in history until just recently since our independence. It's under the Grand Coalition government that foreign direct investment rose by a factor of 14 from $95 million in 2008 to $1.4 billion in 2011. And it was under the Grand Coalition government that our new constitution was passed, and with it, devolution. What's my point here? Great things happen when Luos and Kikuyus work together.
Yeah.
This is the promise of a Rarua ticket. But more than this, Rarua represents the completion of the second liberation. The second liberation was more than just a struggle for human rights and a new constitution. It was a struggle to expand our political vision beyond a single man, beyond a single tribe, and beyond a single way of doing things. That is why we fought through tear gas Mondays under one administration, detention Fridays in others, and that is what both Raila and Karua fought for, and that is what their administration will realize. In both Raila and Karua, we see what the presidency could be, open to all and capable of being held by all. I would like to conclude by hypothesizing what a Rarua ticket means for William Ruto. If Baba picks a woman from Kirinyaga to be his deputy, will Ruto be forced to pick Waiguru as his to cancel out Karua's special brand of Kirinyagan femininity? Or will Waiguru fail to make the cut? We'll only see in time.
Yeah.
Now, as the ex stated just under a year ago, on the 27th of June 2021, in the year of our Lord, Professor Mutahi Ngonyi planted a seed in the public psyche and public discourse when he introduced the possibility of a Raila Karua ticket, and we baptized that ticket Rarua.
Amen.
Today, the 23rd of March 2022, Senior Counsel Martha Wangari Karua joined Azimio La Umoja, and in our final submission, we would like to consider the Raila Karua ticket within the context of coalition building and the ongoing negotiations in Azimio. To begin with, Senior Counsel Martha Karua gave an interview just yesterday before she joined Azimio, where she explained why One Kenya Alliance no longer exists as a coalition, even though it may remain as a collegial entity, collaborators and friends. This was both wise and shrewd of Martha Karua, and it also reveals the Senior Counsel's grasp of the pertinent legal issues. Firstly, it was shrewd because by doing so a day before she joined Azimio, it preempted and answered the question of whether she was joining Azimio as part of One Kenya Alliance coalition, or whether now Kenya was doing so unilaterally as a party. She noted that already her former core principals under One Kenya had joined Azimio and had signed the coalition agreement. However, they did not do so jointly as One Kenya Alliance coalition. They did so on behalf of their respective political parties, such as KANU and Wiper. The moment those parties joined Azimio, then One Kenya Alliance ceased being a coalition. And this is because under the law, Section 7 of the Political Parties Amendment Act of 2021, political parties cannot be members of more than one coalition. And also, two coalitions cannot merge unless they collapse and the constituent parties jointly form a new coalition. In other words, One Kenya did not merge with Azimio to form Azimio One Kenya, as the name suggests. Instead, it was actually the constituent parties under One Kenya that left that coalition one by one, and they joined Azimio, which is also what Martha Karua did with NARC Kenya today. Now, whether Kalonzo will still insist on the name of Azimio being changed to the mouthful of Azimio One Kenya is okay. A name change is not the same as a merger. Be that as it may, Martha Karua also told us that the One Kenya principles were partners even before they themselves had a coalition agreement. So the collaboration amongst them can still enable One Kenya to remain an idea in principle, just not as a coalition. And that is important because the question that then arises is whether Kalonzo's and Wiper's recent insistence on the running mate position should be understood as being done on behalf of Wiper or One Kenya Alliance.
Okay.
And at this juncture, we submit that when Kalonzo joined Azimio, which we celebrated and we are happy that he did, he also cleverly leveraged his entrance to give him a strong negotiating position.
Yep.
Kalonzo started by telling us that Raila promised to support him this time round. And so he wants to have that discussion first. By doing so, it put him in a great place to insist on at least the running in position if he ceded ground on the question of the possibility of being the presidential candidate.
Okay.
The genius of Senior Counsel Martha Karua is that the legal clarity she brought when she argued that One Kenya Alliance is now only a collegial entity but no longer a coalition, it means that Kalonzo now has to clarify his value proposition within the context of the Azimio coalition. What do we mean? If Azimio is made up of more than 20 parties, on what basis is Wiper more deserving than the other parties of the running mate slot? Ultimately, as a starting point, the party that brings in the most numbers is the one most deserving of that number 2 slot. And the simple fact is that that party is the one that has a Gema person as its party leader or as a candidate that is being fronted. Now, when you add in the credentials of that leader, whoever he or she is, such as their contribution in the second liberation, then now Kenya starts to look a lot like the more deserving party and Martha Karua the more deserving leader. On the other hand, if the former One Kenya is saying that even though their parties joined individually, collectively their combined value proposition is high, and therefore at least one of the former One Kenya co-principals should be given a number 2 slot, then it means any one of them can be fronted. But you still need a criteria. Once again, the starting point for assessing their value proposition is the numbers they bring in. And then when you add in their meritocratic credentials, Senior Counsel Martha Karua emerges as the most worthy and likely contender. Either way, Rarua 2022.
Rarua Tosha.
Okay, so we have a 3-part criteria that we use to judge the headlines for you. We ask ourselves these questions. Is the headline topical or speculative? Is it repetitive or groundbreaking? And finally, is it thoughtful or just plain lazy? So I'm going to reread the headlines for you, and you'll tell me what you think. Daily Nation, MPs in mad rush to change elections law. The Standard, Ruto's strategy to avert UDA fallout. The Star, why giant Raila coalition major threat to ODM. And the People Daily, Mama Gina now backs Raila's bid. So what do you guys think of the headlines today?
I say we give it to the People Daily, and the reason I say that is that if you take that headline, travel back in time to any point before 2018 and show it to a Kenyan, they would ask you what type of comedy is this. And now that this can be a headline in this day and age, says a lot about how far we've come. So I give it to the People.
You know what, CS, I was going to say that none of them spoke to the time, but that description has won it for me. So the People Daily grants us our winning headline. Now on to the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country, where we also have a 3-part criteria to break them down for you. We ask ourselves, are they humorous or dry? Is it satirical or pessimistic or effective, or again, just plain lazy? So AX, why don't you take us through the Standard for us?
All right, so the story within the cartoon takes place within 4 panels. In the first, President Suluhu walks alone, apparently carefree. In the second and third panels, a cloud begins to descend upon her, much to her annoyance. And in the last panel, the cloud is given a name, Constitution, as it engulfs President Suluhu, making her cough. Now, the context of this cartoon is that Tanzania has been trying to amend their constitution for the last decade, since 2012. And recently, the president agreed to review the laws after the next election, which is in 2025, which is, I think, one of the most surefire declarations of we are going to actually move forward with this plan from a sitting president to date.
I think Suluhu has really changed the way that politics is done in Tanzania. And it's an interesting cartoon, not very funny, but very interesting. CS, why don't you take us through the Star?
So in the Star, we have Jimmy Wanjigi on makeshift life raft.
With some orange shorts, huh?
And he's in shark-infested waters. And the one flag that he has on his makeshift life raft is a small flag with a dollar sign. I suppose that's what it stands for, and he's been left naked. But along comes a Safina boat, and they throw him a lifesaver. And this speaks to the fact that Jimmy Wanjigi is Safina's presidential candidate. But the irony of it is they're talking about bottom-up economics and hustlers, and one begins to wonder if Jimmy Wanjigi is a hustler, then the definition of a hustler needs to be revised.
Yeah.
It needs to be revised. It cannot be understood.
He cannot be a hustler.
Even by virtue of that small flag with a dollar sign.
Okay, finally, we have the Daily Nation, which I can already tell you off the bat, old news. Anyways, so you have Martha Karua standing in a field. You have the Oka principals with their Kalonzo with his wipers on. Gideon Moi is already crying foul. And you have on the other side, I think what would be Moses Kuria. And then you have Martha Karua looking very closely at three T-shirts: Azimio la Umoja, Kenya Kwanza Alliance, and others. And she says, "Don't rush me." Well, the wait, as we've said, is over. And she's joined Azimio la Umoja, so maybe this cartoon needs a bit of an updating. But other than that, what do you guys think of the cartoons? Do we have any winning cartoons today? I'll take that as a no.
Crickets.
So on a day where we have a winning headline from the People Daily and no winning cartoon, we'd like to thank you so much for watching this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on your TV screens. You'll find us on Pang Free to Air, Go TV, and Star Times. Have a lovely evening.
Bye.